Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for coming along to the March session of Data Platform Downunder, where for this month we've got Hamish Watson from Christchurch, New Zealand, who's going to take us through KQL, the next query language for you to learn. This session is being recorded and will be made available on the Data Platform Downunder YouTube channel, where you can come back and review this session as well as all of the other sessions that we have done in the past. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat window, raise your hand, or if you like, you can come off of mute and ask Hamish a question yourself. Without any further ado and holding Hamish up, I'll hand over to Hamish to take us through today's session.
Oh, good. Hey, thank you, Warwick, and Martin for hosting me today, and g'day everyone. I will just grab my slide thingy-majiggy, which is hopefully there. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, Kusto query language, KQL, I don't care what you call it. All I want you to do is love it. I have decided to use these slides that I used November last year, only because they look really cool. I'll probably get in trouble, but that's fine. Yeah, g'day, I'm Hamish Watson. I'm a DevOps consultant. I've been working in IT for a number of haircuts. I'm probably due for one soon. Bringing DevOps to databases is a personal passion, and to the masses, you know, sessions like this where I get in front of people and talk about things that hopefully help them understand both data and Azure or any cloud technology. You know, those are drivers of the company that I run. It's a consultancy company dedicated to DevOps, cloud, and making stuff go. Yeah, I am a Microsoft MVP, have been for a number of years now, and those are my details on the left-hand side there. I'm still using Twitter while it's still going just. Alrighty, in this session, I'm going to be talking about what is Kusto query language, where it's used. We're going to look at Azure Data Explorer, which I think is a bit of a game changer in terms of data analysis and a few other things. And yeah, this is going to be a lot of demo, pretty much about 40 odd minutes of demo, I think. But anyway, alrighty, what is Kusto query language? Well, it's shortened to KQL or KQL. You know, there's the somewhat passionate discussion within the community around is it, you know, SQL or SQL? I don't actually care, and I'm applying that to KQL here. As I said in the intro, I just want you to learn it, love it. Anyway, Kusto query language, it uses a thing called the Kusto engine to query big data sets, and I'm talking big, like petabytes. And specifically the data sets it was basically created for are related to the various offerings in the Azure platform. Notice I didn't say Azure Cloud Platform. We'll talk about that in a sec. Kusto query language was created in 2014, and it was a sort of a play on a person called Jacques Cousteau, who was a deep sea diver and ocean explorer. And the team based out of Israel, research and development team by Microsoft, felt that we would be using this query language that they were creating, an engine, to deep dive into the ocean of data associated with the Azure platform. Anyway, so that's a little very quick bit of history about Kusto query language. You can use it to really quickly analyze your Azure logs to look for any trends, issues, and gain, you know, insights into the operation of your Azure services. And the really cool thing is that when I first started using Kusto query language, I was only using it in the Azure cloud platform, whereas these days with Azure being able to reach right into your network and into your on-prem data center, you can actually use that same paradigm with your on-prem services. It's not just all about the cloud at the moment. Basically, yeah, the Custo query language, the way I sort of got involved with it was around querying log analytics, because I had a whole heap of resources within Azure that I was using diagnostic logging, right? So taking the diagnostic information of my resources and putting them into log analytics. Well, that seemed all fine and dandy, except I actually wanted to do something with it and understand it. And basically, log analytics was my sort of first intro. But then I started working with developers, as any good DevOps person should. You know, I was doing all this operational stuff, whereas my friends over in the development teams, they were actually using application insights to get metrics and, you know, information about requests, exceptions, throughput of their actual apps. And, you know, application insights in terms of an SDK or software development kit is real lightweight. You know, in the Azure portal, it's literally one tick of a box and you're suddenly taking all this diagnostic information about your apps and putting it into App Insights. And so this was a melding of two worlds, because now we could use a single pane of glass looking at our whole system. I was coming at it from an infrastructure perspective. My dev friends were coming at it from an application perspective. But now we had information in the one place, and we could use the one language, i.e. KQL, to actually gain the insights. The really cool thing is Microsoft have extended KQL into advanced threat protection and the Azure Security Center, which basically gives us this massive unified platform to look at, you know, preventative protection. We can look at post-breach detection. We can also use automation around this to both investigate and react and adapt to anything that is occurring within our system. And of course, you know, this is awesome because the only difference here is the actual underlying data. And so Microsoft has spent so much time, and it's been awesome to watch this over the past 3 to 4 years that I've been using KQL, how much resources Microsoft is putting into allowing us to learn KQL and actually run, you know, the Custo query language, the Custo engine, and ingesting data and learning it for free. But yeah, I'll be showing you a couple of free demo portals that you can first of all just run some queries and learn stuff, but also we'll have a quick look at Azure Data Explorer and the fantastic stuff that Microsoft is doing there. Anyway, this is a really cool diagram that I've stolen off Microsoft. And basically on the left-hand side, we have all this diagnostic information coming into basically Azure Monitor, right? So if I think about the Custo engine, the sort of interface to that is Azure Monitor, because we feed everything to Azure Monitor and then we run our Custo query language over, you know, the log information and the metric information that is captured as part of that overall Azure Monitor sort of instance. And so, yeah, left-hand side, all of this disparate data is coming in. And as you can see on the right-hand side, we've got a whole heap of different ways that we can interact with this data. And more importantly, turn it into information. So, you know, where I came along, it was sort of up the top right there. I had VMs and, you know, a few other things that I wanted to get some insights of. But then what happened was, and sort of analyzing the third segment down, but then what happened was I went from a reactive analysis, looking at data after the fact, right? So, you know, server was very busy. We wanted to see why, what app was slow. We wanted to see why. But the respond, and this was a massive game changer for me. It enabled me to write very simple, because I am a very simple man, simple queries that could be turned into alerts, i.e. tell me something's wrong right now, or proactively scale out my resources. And at the time I was running, you know, app services, which were running APIs and Azure functions and all this in an app service plan. And what was happening was the app was quite busy. And so the client said, well, we'll just scale right out. And I was like, but that's wasting money. So what I did was I wrote KQL to look at the performance of the app service, which was running in an app service plan. So kind of like a website running in a web server, same analogy. And yeah, basically we would start off overnight with 2 machines. And then as performance came up and down over the day, we might scale up to 30 for, you know, for say 4 hours when the apps were very busy. But then as usage dropped off, then we would auto scale back. Now, I was also doing this with not just applications, but also databases. I was scaling out Azure SQL database, the hyperscale edition, which was just awesome. So we would start off with 2 vCores, you know, overnight, and then as load came on, we would scale up. We had the ability to scale up to 80 vCores. We generally didn't, but we'd get up to say 20 vCores during the middle of the day, and then drop it off as the night came on. So game changer, not just dealing with data, but actually taking that data, making it information, but also enabling me to do quite a better job. Anyway, the best part about this is that Microsoft have given us a couple of portals where we can try this out for free. You don't need a credit card. You don't need anything except some method of authenticating to Azure. That's it, right? So your email address, done. And so here are the links here. Happy to put them in the chat during question time. Yeah, it's really awesome, and we'll have a look at that in the demos. Now, one of the greatest things I found was the cheat sheet. The funny thing is, if you Google cheat sheet for KQL, you get all these other hits. This link here is the bee's knees. It is the best one out. And the cool thing is, what it does is it shows us if I was doing, say, T-SQL, select star, because I'm very bad at writing queries from dependencies table. In KQL, we'd just run dependencies, and that's it. But we don't really want to do select star, do we? We want to sort of do our queries a little bit better. So I may actually do select name and result code from dependencies. Well, in KQL, what we do is we take the dependencies table and we project out just the name and just the result code. And you'll see there the little pipe symbol, that big old vertical line there. We're basically piping dependencies down into our next statement. And the really cool thing is we can do grouping and aggregations and what have you. So here we're doing a select name, right? We're doing an average of the duration from dependencies, and we want to group by name. In KQL, it's actually a little simpler. I take dependencies, I summarize average duration by name. Boom, done. Thank you very much. So yeah, go and look at the cheat sheet. I still have a look every now and then because there's some, you know, I can't remember everything. Yeah, it's really awesome. Anyway, I then stumbled upon Azure Data Explorer in my journey. with good old KQL. And basically, Azure Data Explorer is a fast and highly scalable data exploration service for log and telemetry data. So on the left-hand side there, we've got structured data, we've got unstructured data. It doesn't care. Now, this is a service in Azure, and back in the day, I would spin up a cluster in the session, would spend the first 2 minutes while I ran some beautifully, not so much, written Terraform code that would spin up a Azure Data Explorer cluster in Azure. We'd then create a database, create a table, and ingest data. Well, as you'll see in the demo, I don't actually have to do that anymore, because if you read my blog post, you'll see the one time I forgot to turn the cluster off, because those clusters can be quite expensive, because I was, during the demo, scaling them out and this, that, and the other. So anyway, basically, Azure Data Explorer allows us to ingest on the left-hand side there. We'll do some orchestration and monitoring of our feeds in. And it's really ideal for analyzing large volumes of diverse data from any data source. And it's basically now what Azure Monitor and everything is run on top of what has become Azure Data Explorer. It scales quickly to terabytes and even petabytes of data in minutes. Like this, there's an underlying cluster underneath, and it can scale really quick. Basically, it allows us to do rapid iteration of data exploration, because we will ingest our data, we'll run our query, which is lightning quick. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, we'll throw it away, start again. And, you know, the cool thing is it uses KQL as a query language. So I don't have to learn anything new per se. I can start using KQL running in Azure Data Explorer that I would have been using in both either log analytics or running against application insights. One of the cool things is that I talk about log analytics and app insights as two disparate things, whereas I will run my query in log analytics to query either diagnostic information or application insights information. I don't use two things. I just use the one place, and I'll show you that when we get to the demo. One thing I will note here is that any query we run in Azure Data Explorer or ADX is a read-only request. Basically, we process our data and then we return the results of this processing without modifying the underlying data or metadata. And basically, as I said, we'll refine, prep and train our queries until we've completed our analysis. What else? Yeah, like I said, if it's structured or semi-structured like JSON or even free text, it just chucks it all in and allows us to, run very, very quick queries. The cool thing is, on the right-hand side of this, we can do all the cool dashboards and anything you want anywhere. If you're doing Power BI, if you want to, put this in to do advanced analytics, whatever, you can do it. Anyway, I reckon that's enough talking by me. What we'll do is now look at a bit of KQL. Righty, so I am going to jump to this one. Oh dear. Where is it? Okay. And the brilliance of using many monitors. What I'll do is I'll just quickly stop share presenting, and then I will present. And if you don't mind, I am not on the greatest internet of the world, so I am going to turn my camera off just while I'm doing the demos, because you'd rather look at the screen than me anyway. Right, this one here. So hopefully you are seeing Chrome. Right, alert rules.
Yeah, so I've seen your alert rules, Hamish.
Oh, yeah, cool. I don't know why I can't see it. That's brilliant. That is amazing. Oh, I know why, because I put it. I've got 4 monitors and it put this one on the other monitor. All right. I actually had realized that I'm sharing the wrong one, but that's okay. We're going to share the other one because I want to show. My apologies for this. It's the first time I've ever used a computer. Where is it? This one here. Right, this is the one. There we go. This here, and I will zoom in. This is the sequel to Custo cheat sheet. And what I'll do is put this in the chat. This was an absolute savior for me. So I'm just putting this in the chat. There you go. It is honestly amazing. I love how Teams does that. It has every single query that you want to do is in here. So on the left hand side we have SQL, on the right hand side we have Custo query. Now this was also a game changer. What it is explained, right? So in Azure Data Explorer, you can't do this in log analytics. I don't know why, but if you, let's say you've written this T-SQL thing here, select count _ big star from C from storm events. If you, and let's run the query, this is a game changer, by the way, being able to do this. Because what Microsoft have done is they have an Azure Data Explorer where we can run queries for free. Now, apologies, this has gone very small, but here we go. So this was my query up here. Let's see, can I? Oh, look at that. The magic of numbers. So I did -- explained that, and what it's done is given me the resultant KQL. And that was massive in terms of being able to, transpose or, use KQL instead of, coming from T-SQL. So I've put it in the chat. Please go and look. Yeah, I love this bit where I can run the query on Azure Data Explorer from the get-go. Every example that we want, and best part is they've got tutorials of Custo queries, but don't go there now. Let's just talk. Alrighty, and that did not come across. That's perfect. Let me just grab the link to the free stuff, and I will put this in the link in the chat as well. If I can find that. So we're going to go to the free offering. Oh, yep. There we go. So they're going to send. Yep, cool. The free offering that Microsoft give us. So I'll quickly go here. And as you'll see, this will ask me, I think, to log in. I'll use my normal account. But I have not provided any credit card details or anything. All I've done is it's just got an email address that I have authenticated with Azure Active Directory, right? Identity provider at some stage. There's a cool video there. I'm not going to watch it. One of the great things about, fantastic. One of the great things about Microsoft is they have put so much thought into how to make this as, you know, approachable for everyone. So an example is they have provided us with heaps of queries that we can actually use and run. And so what this is a demo system in Microsoft. It's live data. There's actually, you know, these servers are somewhere in the Microsoft data center somewhere doing something. And so this was another way I could learn how to run, you know, queries. I'd be like, I just basically went through each of these and just ran it just to see what would happen. And, you know, we're going to get into some really cool things in a sec. Obviously, this is very noisy, but, you know, I could, oh my goodness, where is it? There. So, this happened to me once before, where it kind of went a bit slow. I did warn you that my internet wasn't great. What I might do is just come back in here because I actually want to run my queries. Running the Microsoft ones, for you, it'll be fine. It is, what's the time? Coming up 4 p.m. here. You know, we've got 3 iPads on the go. One of the kids will be watching Netflix, no worry, no doubt. So what I'll do is I'm going to run through my demo and we'll come back to that other stuff because it is amazing. Alrighty, let's, I will just copy everything in, I think. And we'll see how far we get. Okay, remember when I talked before doing that good old select star? And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do the last 24 hours. I'm just going to do the last 30 minutes. Now I've got 2 options. I can click run, or I can go shift enter. And shift enter will run my query. And so here I am basically saying, give me all of the things. And you'll see here that it's gone, you know, I'm just going to give you the last 30,000 results because this is every single resource that, you know, Microsoft have got, you know, coming in here. And you can see, you know, Hyper-V network adapters, some hard drives on various hosts, this, that, and the other. But let's say I just want to search for memory. Then we can search for that. And you'll see down the bottom right-hand corner here, I now, in this part, I only have searched for memory. And basically, I have just said, give me all columns that have the word memory in it. Now, if I was lucky, there might be another column in there that had the word memory, but you get what I mean. Now, the cool thing is it's not case sensitive. So if I have a capital M for memory or lowercase m for memory, I still get the same result. However, if I do want it to be case sensitive, I can actually put this kind equals case underscore sensitive. And so we should get 0 because there is nothing that is lowercase m. So that's all cool. Alrighty. What I might do is just put that down a bit. Now, if I really didn't like the way I write queries, I could actually just type memory. But the problem is that this search will go across all the tables in the current database. And if we look at the tables here, those are our queries, you know, we have some pretty big tables, you know, like I would imagine the security and audit tables. So it's going to search for memory across all of them. And I have learned over the years of doing this session not to do that one. Anyway, let's say I'm going to take our perf table and I want to search for where the counter name equals available megabytes. So again, we'll just do 30 minutes worth, and there we go. So our counter name here is available megabytes. What we can do is actually do that search where the counter name contains M bytes, and so we don't have to put the available part. We can actually do a wildcard search. So we're going to say we're going to search for all columns using where it has bytes somewhere in there. And so you'll see here we have bytes received per sec, disk bytes, what have you. We can do basically like, well, exactly like. We can do starts with, so what's this one? Bytes sent, and ends with, which is probably going to be our available bytes. Cool. Yep. So there we have 3 megabytes, available M bytes. So yeah, the reason why we might do this is often we may not actually know what our counter is, the actual name of it. So we might actually do a bit of either start with or ends with. We can do the wildcard in the middle. So yeah, it's pretty cool and pretty helpful. We can also combine them. So we're going to search for free something bytes, and where we have a C or a D drive. So we can, combine these logically, which is, again, really cool. Now, if you're like me and you absolutely hate regex, this was a game changer, sort of. It does support regex or regular expressions. I absolutely have to Google every single time to look up regex. There's a really cool regex editor online, which I have to use all the time. Alrighty. So I've been using search up until now, but we can actually use where, and you'll see here, if I come back here, notice this defaults to the last 24 hours. I always remember to hit 30 minutes, but we can actually we can say with the time generated is greater than equal to 1 hour ago. It's a little bit backwards, but you get used to it. So we can say, give me everything from greater than equal. I think this is going to give me more than 30,000 results, isn't it? Yes, it will. So why don't I refine it a bit better? And so you see where I'm going with this, right? We can build up our queries just like you would with T-SQL. And so down here, down the bottom right-hand corner, 9,578 were returned. And if I want to refine it even more, where things are greater than 0, we can do multiple ands. And so now we're down to 276. The cool thing is, I can do a couple of things. I can give you my query. I can create a new alert rule, which we'll do in a sec. But I can actually do CSV of all columns or just displayed columns. If I was, I might actually do, chuck in a project in here, and then, export it out. And, for all the cool kids on the block, you can do Power BI. Yeah, you can do anything and all the things. You'll notice there it did something. I don't know if I never know if Control Z works here. But anyway, you can actually format the query, which I sometimes like doing because I write terrible queries. You can do ORs, where we do an and and an or. So basically, it follows the sort of constructs or whatever of you know, query languages, you know, be T-SQL or T-SQL or P-SQL or whatever. What we'll do here, there's such thing called take, which basically allows us to just take 10 random things. I will draw your attention down here. We can actually turn this into, go from UTC, which is predominantly what most, well, everything in Azure is UTC, or I could do it in my own local time. And you'll see there, I have no idea what time of day it is. Yeah, so we can, present it in our own local time, but I predominantly work in UTC these days anyway. What else? Yeah, I mean, again, we can combine it with, you know, all of our other queries. Unfortunately, a lot of this, I've tried to do this before where I run it, and there is a little bit of caching involved. Watch the video back in slow-mo and you'll see that those are random events, honestly. I'm not kidding. Anyway, we can do limit, which, you know, we're all used to, especially in other database systems. We can do a count, which is quite good. That way we can go, how big of a thing? Well, there's 7 million odd records in this, which is why, you know, I want to limit this down because you only get 30,000 items returned. I'm not going to worry about any of these. Oh, actually, let's do this. Let's do this one. And I'll explain what it is in a second. So what we're doing here is we have made a column here called number of entries. And so, you know, this is a way that we can just sort of like you do with calculated columns in SQL, we can do the same here in KQL, where we can actually label our column and it equals a count. And what we're doing is we're summarizing by time generated. And in this example, we're doing 1 day. We could actually do 1 hour. So there would be probably 24 entries here. There you go. So there is my buckets of 24 thingies, or 25, because it will count. Yeah. Yeah, so I can summarize using this bin, which is basically a bucket of time, and run that. The really cool thing is if I wanted to do, say, 7 days and I wanted to do, I don't know, 6 hours, it's really cool. It, you know, this gives me a breakdown. I might actually, I don't know, order by generated, and we'll go to sending. And now I've just tabbed through most of those, and you know, if I was pedantic, I might format my query a bit better. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, and we'll run that, and then what it will do is it'll order it. So again, I take the results of this query and then I pipe it into my order by, which is pretty cool stuff. You know, we can do some really cool things. Basically, extend is extend is the same as what we'd do with a computed column, calculated column, whatever. Yeah, it's basically allows us to create a calculated column. It's quite a hard thing to say. And do some really cool things with it. So we've got 3 gigabytes here, 3 megabytes. And the cool thing is I can sort in the output here and do all kinds of cool stuff. Alrighty, I reckon the last thing I'm going to do, and this doesn't always work, is do a join. Alrighty, blah, 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 blah. Heaps of examples. We can actually do calculations with it. So 21 times 2, 42, obviously the answer, well, to everything. And we can do a print now. So what is the time now? So this will be, again, in UTC, and this is a US date because a lot of reasons. So yeah, 7th of March. Alrighty, let's go down to the join bits and we'll talk through that. Oh, you can do if, which is, you can, if is basically a mini if then else. So we can run that. And so, yeah, it's got a few conditions here. We might want to look at this one because it's less than 50 free space, 90% free space. I think we're okay. And yeah, so I mean that's pretty cool. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Anyway, go and look at the cheat sheet, and start building out your own queries. What I will do is show you the Azure Data Explorer. We'll do this real quick. So what this is this is a free Data Explorer. Is it going to do it? Yeah, free cluster. So there is a link on the Microsoft Azure Data Explorer. No, I don't want to do that. Basically, this gives me a free Azure Data Explorer. I've just logged in as my Microsoft account, and then I can do a whole number of things, and we'll do a couple now while we've still got some minutes left. Right, so data. We are going to ingest data. We're using my free cluster. And the really cool thing is my free cluster is an Azure Data Explorer instance. There's also one called help, and we'll see that in a sec. We'll use my database and we'll do a new table. And we'll call it, I don't know, my new table, just to keep it nice and simple. Now we're going to choose our source. Now the best part is we can drop our files in here and do whatever. We're actually going to use blob storage. And what Microsoft have done is they have given us this here. What happened there? Okay. My new table. Yeah, cool. Next source. Blob. And you'll see here, and I'll put it in the chat actually. Wherever the chat's gone, that's fine. They have given us a blob storage that has a CSV file. So that's pretty cool. Right, go schema next. So all we're doing here is just choosing, this is the CSV. We'll ignore the first record, and we can call this anything. Data, I don't know, call it whatever. This here is storm events, actually storm events mapping, and we'll start ingesting. So it's created my table from that CSV. is here. Now, this is a free instance, so it's not the quickest, but it's there, and it's given us a preview. And look here, we have some quick queries we can do. Actually, I've never thought to click on this. Oh no. Famous last words. Oh yeah, so this is my database. See here, my free cluster, which I'm using for free. And look at this, it's done a take 10. This is the table, and look at all this stuff. It has grabbed this definition from our CSV. I haven't had to do anything. And we've written our first query for free. So what I'm going to do is, oh yeah, whatever. Thank you for that. It's not called that. It's called my new table. And so I can now start querying this example data and do, you know, whatever I want with it, which is absolutely brilliant. What else have we got? They have the help. Oh, actually, I'll do it from here. So this is my free cluster. Where do I get to the other one? Not actually sure. Well, I can come here actually. So that was my example, but Microsoft have this cluster here. Look how easy this is, right? So let's just grab any URL. I'm just going to chuck it in here. Hope for the best. help.custo.windows.net. How easy is that? I'll tell you how easy. This easy. And now I've got every single example of stuff. And so all I'm going to do now is basically, where is it? Oh, I always lose it. Somewhere down here. Oh, samples, tables. So we can do time series and machine learning. And I always promised people that I was going to do this stuff, but I never do because it was too hard for me to spin up a cluster. Well, Microsoft have spun it up for me, and now I could actually do a whole series of time series. Oh goodness, time series and stuff. I've just done my first ever time series analysis using Azure Data Explorer, and it didn't cost me anything. That, my friends, is awesome. Right, let me just stop sharing that one, and we're just going to share one last thing that was a game changer for me and actually reinvented parts of my career, which sounds like hyperbole, but it isn't. This one here. Alrighty. Okay. What I did here was these are some queries that I'm running in a system. And these here, I'm using KQL, and this was kind of where I started working with developers because they was wanting to see what the 3 slowest pages were and how slow were they. Well, 36 seconds, that's pretty slow for a page. But then some of the marketing people are like, hey, where are the people coming into our system? Okay, well, 78% are from the US. Australia figures, always. New Zealand doesn't, but anyway. But for me, this is where I came in because I'm always interested in how the underlying things are working, right? So these are all the web servers. These are the ones that had an exception of 500, which is an internal server error, which is pretty pretty bad. This one here I used in terms of how many errors did I have that were 500s and what was my average time. So 143 milliseconds. That's okay. This is what happened. I took that query and I could now make an alert rule. And I could say greater than, you know, how many was it? 242. So anything over 200, do something. I could then do actions. You know, I could grab some action groups that would, oh, actually, I will show you. I could do webhooks, SMS messages, emails, you know, email Azure Resource Manager role. This was amazing. And what it meant was that I could, I disabled a whole heap this morning. Oh, no, actually, no, don't worry. This one, right? Because this is about a database. And this rule here, that's not the world's hardest query to write, where it's greater than a severity 3, cannot open database, this one, and that was an alert. I said that it was critical down here, and it was, yeah, absolutely amazing. What else? You know, this one here, oh no, that was, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, for me, this was the game changer where, you know, I would now know when my database was offline and we could do a whole heap of different things with that information. Alrighty, I think we're close to time. So what I'm going to do is stop presenting and quickly go back to my PowerPoint. And we'll bring that up. Cool. And we will share it. And then I do have some time for questions if you want to ask questions, and if you don't, I don't care. I do, but I'm pretending I don't. I think it's that one. Have I shared the right one?
Yes.
The machines are working. Alrighty. Here's a summary. Learn KQL. It is very easy. If someone like me can learn it, you definitely can. And the best part is, it is very powerful. And basically, if you do anything in Azure, you should use KQL. Microsoft is using KQL more and more, and so should you. And here's the deal. They're not only using it, they are providing us free things that we can use. And I'm going to go grab all those URLs that I was using. I'm going to chuck them in the chat, and you can go and play to your heart's content. Honestly, I've never seen Microsoft do something like this, where they give you something as powerful as Azure Data Explorer for free. They give you all those examples, and there is a lot of documentation out there on being able to write stuff. You know, it is a good introduction to machine learning capabilities. And look, even if you only use Azure a little bit, have a play, because it's free. You get up to 5 gig, I think, per month of ingested stuff. And, you know, for most people, that's more than enough. Here's the deal. Even if you went up to the actual cost of it, so for corporate people, like we were running hundreds of gigabytes of data, you know, and it was like, I think it was like $80. Don't quote me on that, because obviously things could change, but it was so inexpensive for the value that we got, right? Even if it was $800 a month, right? The actual ability to scale our apps, respond to things, you know, that are happening, so that our downtime is minimized. You can't get better than that. Alrighty, thank you so much for being part of my session. There are my details. And yeah, if you've got questions, you know, bring them on. I will grab some URLs for you, so that I'll chuck those in the chat.
Thank you,
And I've
Hamish.
lost. Thanks, Mike Hodgson. Basically, my philosophy in life is learn and laugh. Yeah. If you can't laugh, then it wasn't a good session.
So instead of a lunch and learn, Hamish, a laugh and learn.
Laugh and learn. Yeah, there you go. I am just trying to find. Oh yeah, here we go. Actually, is it? No, it's not. Oh, yeah, there you go. I got the URL for you. That there in the chat, that is the free help one, which has all of the examples you'd ever want to have. It's amazing. Like I said, you can do time series, you can do machine learning. They've got IoT data. They've got all of the things. Honestly, I don't know how they could make it easier for us to learn this beautiful language and make stuff go. I had to say it once. And by the way, I'm very lucky, speaking of make stuff go, this weekend here in Christchurch is a conference, a free conference, the Make Stuff Go conference. And I'm very lucky to have Warwick and Martin Catherall come over to speak at it. And it's an event dedicated on how to make stuff go. So I'll be doing some of this stuff. Warwick will be talking about a bit of Azure stuff, I imagine. Nice. And Martin, you are doing, I think, T-SQL stuff on how to make stuff go. But
You're on mute, Martin.
But you're, yeah.
Sorry, that's exactly right what I'll be talking about, Hamish. T-SQL, no functions.
Actually, no. Yeah, I was gonna chuck the link in, but it's probably too late for people to fly over and come to a wonderful little event here in Christchurch, our first event in 4 years. Yeah, be great. Yeah, well, hey, thanks very much. I'm not going anywhere really. To be honest, the sooner this finishes, the sooner I can get this ridiculous shirt off and crack into a wine.
Well, thank you, Hamish. Thank you, everybody, for coming along this month. As Hamish has said, if you do have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat window or put your hand up or come off of mute and ask your question. So while we're waiting, it looks like a couple of people are typing. Hamish, have you used the Azure Monitor Logs extension in Azure Data Studio?
So the longer version of yes is the short question. That is the short answer. I mean, goodness. The longer answer is not the longer version of the session. I actually use Azure Data Studio because you made me learn it. And there's really cool extensions. Honestly, the leaps and bounds that Microsoft have done with Azure Data Studio makes, you know, what do I say? You know, people like myself, years ago, I was like, I'm never using that. You know, I use Management Studio. Whereas now, you know, I use Visual Code a lot. And so the interface is similar, but the paradigm is far more in Azure Data Studio because there's all these extensions. There's an extension for Custo query language, as well as connecting to Azure Data Explorer really, really easy. Awesome question by Peter. Yes, I actually have mined audit logs with KQL because we have ported them out of now. I do have to, there's a caveat here. I mined them because it was Azure SQL database. And so I had all my audit diags and everything coming out into log analytics. And in fact, we would, there's never enough time to talk about this. With diagnostic information in Azure, you have a couple of options. You can put it into, obviously, first class citizen, log analytics, but you can actually put it into blob storage. And so you can have this massive, depending on how much, you want to pay for your storage, it's not very dear anyway, but you could have this massive storage of your audit and diagnostic information. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can, getting all excited again. Yeah, there's a whole heap of different ways that we can, look over our data with KQL. Yeah, and you could export that. You could bring it into Azure Data Explorer and run your own queries and everything over it. It's amazing. I don't think I've ever said that about a Microsoft product ever in my life, but it's yeah, I really like it, and more importantly, it's applicable to day-to-day things that anyone would do. Be it me as an ops guy, ops person, I could learn it to look at the infrastructure side, the networks, this, that, and the other, or as a developer, all that application insight stuff. And the cool thing is we can collaborate on the same language. And I learned so much from developers. They taught me query language, and I was hired as the data guy. Just think about that for a sec. What data and DevOps guy? We'll go with that. Yeah. But I'm eager to learn from anyone, even Martin Catherall.
Cheers.
If there's no more questions, then thank you everybody for joining this month's session. Thank you, Hamish, for delivering a wonderful demo-heavy session that everyone will be able to come back and review this session on the Data Platform Downunder YouTube channel once the recording has been processed and uploaded.
Hopefully before the 20th of March, eh? That's an internal joke. It's, I need to have this as a contribution. All right.
Well, thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your learning days.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.